Good afternoon. I'm Kit Williams, the Fayetteville City Attorney. I would like to thank everyone for coming to this dedication ceremony of the Fayetteville District Judge Rudy Moore Courtroom. I need to especially thank the Fayetteville City Council for passing unanimously and for Mayor Jordan for approving and signing the resolution I presented to make this courtroom the Rudy Moore Courtroom. It is now my honor to introduce a man I have served with for over 12 years, our Honorable Mayor Lionel Jordan.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's wonderful to be here today for this dedication. And I thought about all the things I could say today, so I just wanted to talk about Rudy. I remember him as when I was a kid, and the respect and recognition of this great man followed me throughout my life. And I can certainly say that I have known him all of my life. The fact that I had the honor of being mayor while Rudy was on the bench for our district court meant the world to me. Not only because Judge Moore did an admirable job serving the people, the city, and the law, but because he was an honest man with a real heart for the people. Judge Moore was elected to the Arkansas House of Representatives and served as then Governor Bill Clinton's senior executive assistant. He was a fine legislator, a great citizen, person, and he was a good friend. He was very community-minded, serving as the school board attorney, and he was a great family man. He so loved his wife, Wanda, and their children. I felt quite privileged to know him and be around him. And whenever I needed counsel as a mayor, he was there. And he always had wise judgment. He always gave me a straight answer. And he was always fair. And he always took care of the people. Judge Rudy Moore was an honor to our court, our city, state, and the legal profession. Judge Moore helped greatly in the design and building of this courthouse and courtroom. He was proud to be a public service employee of the city of Fayetteville. It fits so well here, and it is fitting that this courtroom be named after this honorable and wise judge who was the first to rule from this bench. The Fayetteville City Council passed a resolution in April of 2013 to name this courtroom the Fayetteville District Judge Rudy Moore Courtroom. And today we name and dedicate it as the Fayetteville District Judge Rudy Moore Courtroom, which will forever hold his portrait. I want to thank everyone for being here today to share in this important day in the city of Fayetteville history and honoring the legacy of our friend Judge Rudy Moore, Jr. You know, folks, will he be missed? Yeah. Will he be forgotten? No. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. It is now my pleasure to introduce City Prosecutor Casey Jones, who for 2 decades appeared before Judge Moore virtually every week. In fact, I'm sure that Casey has tried more cases before Judge Moore than anybody else, and so I asked him to say a few words during this dedication ceremony. Casey.
Thanks, dude. I actually won 5 of them. I appreciate all you being here. Tomorrow morning, if you come into this courtroom, it's going to be just as filled as it is this afternoon. The difference is some of you, or some of them, will be going to jail, and maybe here too. A short time after Rudy's passing, Kit came by on a Wednesday and told me he was going to propose to the city council that we name the courtroom after Rudy Moore. Well, of course, that made perfect sense in a number of different ways. Rudy had been, if not our longest-serving municipal district judge, one of the longest. Some folks here, longer in tooth, might remember who was the longest-serving judge. Judge Story, do you have any idea? James Patak. He served with integrity and honor, but he was also instrumental in getting this courtroom and building built. I was with him when he dedicated himself to getting this thing done. All the while, the economy was tanking and people were not in the mood to take on new projects, yet he persevered. Watching Rudy in some of those meetings was something to witness, and at times just a little bit scary. He did it, though, often through sheer will. It was his vision that helped make this one of the nicest district courtrooms, one of the nicest courtrooms, I think, in the state, but also a LEED certified building as well. If old Yankee Stadium was the house that Ruth built, certainly this is the house that Rudy built. I'm, of course, personally grateful for his efforts. I've been around long enough to remember all, if not most, of our old courtrooms. The old closet that was in the police department. I was a public defender there. My office was literally the cigarette machine that I leaned up against. When I came back as the first full-time prosecutor, we met for a very short time where the city council meets, a very nice venue. It didn't last very long. I don't think Fred Hanna was comfortable riding the elevators with guys in jumpsuits and handcuffs, some of them city councilmen. So we moved yet again. I often describe our old courtroom, the one we had before this, as something akin to a Mississippi DMV with a little bit less charm. So you can imagine how all of us who work in the system feel about this place, and this courtroom in particular. It has Rudy's fingerprints all over it. On one hand, I'm so happy he got to sit here for as long as he did, but also heartbroken it was not as long as we all wanted. While we put his name on this courtroom, Rudy's legacy is really etched in our minds with the stories all of us can share. Those memories and stories are a greater legacy in many ways. So even if the city, which he loved deeply, had not been as thoughtful and kind and put his name over the door, at least for me and for so many others, this courtroom would always have been Rudy Moore's, with his name etched in our hearts. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Casey. It is now my honor to introduce the Senior Circuit Judge of the 4th Judicial District, the Honorable Bill Story. Since Judge Story has known Judge Moore during Judge Moore's entire legal career, I asked him to present some remarks on this day as we are dedicating the Fayetteville District Judge Rudy Moore Courtroom.
Thank you, Kit. I was pleased to learn that Prosecutor Jones has done much better in this court than in mine. Rhonda, Margaret, members of the family, Mayor Jordan, judges, friends of Judge Moore, I'm profoundly honored to be here today to speak about a friend of more than 46 years. I first met Judge Rudy Moore when I was a second-year law student here in Fayetteville, and Judge Moore was a first-year student. Rudy was the quarterback on our LFL football team. That was the law school football league. Law school was much more fun in those days. And we became good friends almost immediately. And it was immediately apparent to me that Rudy Moore was an exceptional person. We became friends at a friendship that would last all of these years. And I don't think it was because I was his favorite receiver. I think it was because we shared so many common interests in the law, sports, government, and other things. Judge Moore accomplished so many things in his life. He had obviously a long and distinguished career as judge. In fact, I had the honor of swearing him in 20 years ago for his first term. The citizens who appeared here, the attorneys who practiced here, and those of us who saw his work immediately realized that justice was done by this court in a fair and efficient manner. In addition, he was a very fine lawyer and recognized as an expert in the field of school law. He was a fierce advocate for our public schools, not only here in Fayetteville, but throughout the area. As was noted by Mayor Jordan, his devotion to public service began when he represented Springdale in the legislature, and thereafter as Governor Clinton in the first term, his right-hand man. These accomplishments by themselves represent an enormous legacy far beyond what most people can achieve in a lifetime. As was noted by the speakers, I know Judge Moore took a hands-on approach and was very involved in the design and construction of this beautiful facility. It clearly was his vision. When completed, he proudly showed it to all of us and anyone who would come by and express any interest in the state-of-the-art court facility. Truly, in my judgment, this complex represents the gold standard for court facilities, just as Judge Moore's time as Fayetteville municipal and district judge represents the best of the judiciary and what we as judges are trying to accomplish. It is surely fitting and appropriate that this courtroom bear the name of Judge Rudy Moore as a permanent memorial to his outstanding service and a life well lived. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Story. Fayetteville District Court Clerk Dina Stalkoper. Saying that right, Dina? Worked closely with Judge Moore for decades. Dina was always ready and able to assist Judge Moore as he administered the Fayetteville District Court. I would ask Dina to say a few words at this dedication ceremony.
First of all, I'd like to acknowledge my staff. If you guys would stand, please. Judge Moore always wanted to talk about years of service every time we had a yearly meeting, and so I've got 25, 30 plus years. I've got none with less than 10, and he always liked for me to add up the total of years. So this morning, counting his 22 years, I counted 177 years of service total for our staff. Those of you who have had the opportunity to visit Judge Moore in his office probably noticed the large portrait of President Abraham Lincoln. You may have wondered why a lifelong Democrat chose such a large portrait of a Republican for his office. We, his staff, understands this association. A judge's admiration for a great president known for his principles, caring, and compassionate leadership. This is how we remember Judge Moore. Today, as we commemorate the Fayetteville District Court in honor of Judge Moore, I would like to use a Lincoln quote appropriate for his recognition, and one that he would find favor with the judge for his staff. In this sad world of ours, sorrow comes to all, and to the young it comes with bitterest agony, because it takes them unawares. The older have learned to ever expect it. I am anxious to afford some alleviation of your present distress. Perfect relief is not possible except with time. You cannot now realize that you will ever feel better. It is not so, and yet this is a mistake. You are sure to be happy again. To know this, which is certainly true, will make you some less miserable now. I have had experience enough to know what I say, and you need only to believe it to feel better at once. For me and the staff, the Fayetteville District Court will always be remembered in honor of Judge Moore, a caring and compassionate judge and leader. Thank you.
Now I see Wanda is here, and Judge Moore's beautiful wife might want to make comments or not. If you do, please come forward. Thank you.
I want to thank all of you for being here. When I look at everyone who's seated, and I look at the people standing in the hall, I am completely humbled by what a great honor this is for Rudy and for our family. There is no one who was more proud of what he did. No matter where we were, people always kind of brag on who they work for, the big companies, the things. No matter, he never said, I'm an attorney. He never said, I'm a judge. When asked what he did, he said, oh, I work for the city of Fayetteville. Today, as our family gathered here, our son Ross works for the city of Fayetteville, and Kristen is a teacher in Columbia, Missouri. Jason couldn't be here with us today, but as we were getting ready, Ross was reading meters this morning for the city, and I said, you need to come just as you are. And so Ross is here today in his City of Fayetteville shirt. Nothing would have made Ross more proud. And for all of you who knew Rudy very well, you knew he was a pretty exacting guy with real standards. And the only human in the world he ever cut any quarter was the one who's crying over there right now. And he would have been sitting here. Now, any of your children or grandchildren, he would have said, someone needs to get a hold of that child. Truth is, he would have been saying, isn't she cute? Bless her heart. I don't know what's wrong with her. And, one of the things he was most proud of being a part of the city was, I think that he felt like he and his staff really were a big part of making this city work. He talked about being a profit center for a city. And he talked about his staff, and he always talked about the amount of money my staff collected for the city. And Mayor, I'm sure that you heard that more than once. When he wanted something, he would talk about what his staff did and how his staff deserved that because they were a profit center for this city. He loved all his friends. He loved his staff like they were family. And I cannot think of anything more fitting that would have made him more deeply honored or deeply proud. And guys, he would say that, oh, I don't deserve this. Oh, don't make that big fuss. The truth is, it would make him so secretly happy to know that every citation that is issued from now on in this city of Fayetteville will say that they have to appear at the Judge Rudy Moore courtroom. I think it's pretty fitting. I think it's wonderful. And thank you so much for the honor.
Again, I'd like to thank everybody for coming, and I'd like to especially thank Lindsley Smith, who has provided refreshments outside, so there will be a reception outside. I'd like to thank our speakers who did an excellent job. I'm very happy with that, and thank you all for coming, and we are now open.